Yes, hi, it's Mark your Medicine Cork Dork. I'm going over wine during these trying times of COVID-19. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear my voice while I'm giving these, for lack of better words, lectures. So if you are unable to hear me, please let me know. I'll make this comment maybe throughout the video as people join or as someone joins. Basically, you can either let me know by comments or give me a frowny face or something like that, a little angry face. That all being said, so yesterday, I had talked about Agritiko, which is a red wine from Greece. Incredibly hard to grow and the most planted wine in Greece. Today, I'll be going over a grape with a little bit of fun history, and that is Carmenere. So why am I doing these videos? Outside of the fact that I'm bored and my job primarily deals with something similar to this, I'm also doing this because the majority of you have probably heard of some wine varietals like Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Merlot. However, I would like to introduce you to some grapes that you probably have not heard of. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. That way, you can explore grapes that you never thought of exploring that might be similar to kinds of wines that you already like. So I want to remind you of a few things when it comes to wine, some terms that you need to know, and other things that you can impress upon yourself. First and foremost, anyone can learn how to smell and taste wine. Like all foods, taste and smell are chemistry. When we say we're smelling raspberries or we're tasting campfire smoke, we're not lying. We're not making this up. These are sensations that we are having. With time, you can train yourself to seek out individual smells. Just close your eyes when you smell, taste the wine, and then you can just think about individual fruits or wood or flowers or minerals, etc. Anything that you're familiar with, just close your eyes and think. That's all that you need to remember when you're smelling and tasting wine. Well, outside of swirling the wine, all before that fun stuff. So I'll be bringing up these terms several times throughout this video, and I also bring these terms up at the beginning of each video. So, body. Body is the mouthfeel you have when you taste the wine. This is analogous to milk. If it feels like whole milk, that's a full-bodied wine. If it seems like skim milk, it's light-bodied. And if it's 2%, it's a medium-bodied wine. So you also already know whether a wine is dry or sweet. That's something that obviously anyone can tell. Now, tannin is a word that people are heard of, but they probably don't even know what that means. So tannin is the astringency you feel in your mouth that some wines have. It makes your tongue feel like it's sticking to the side of your teeth or to the roof of your mouth. That kind of grippy thing that you have, or maybe like a little tongue depressor, that sort of thing. Now, acidity is how watery your mouth feels after swallowing. The more watery, the higher the acidity. Alcohol, outside of what you see on the label itself, can also be guessed as to how much wine burns at the top of your throat when it goes down. So if it gets a good burning sensation, it could be anywhere between even 14 to 15%. Most wines, especially red wines, are going to be in the 12 to 15% range, although some wines can go all the way down to 5%. Those ones are going to be very deadly, so they tend to be sweeter Moscatos and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going on to today's grape. And this one is, I would say, a little hidden gem. Now, the grape that I'm going over today is Carmenere. So, Carmenere originated in the Bordeaux region of France, particularly the Medoc region, which is on the left bank. Now, I'll try to show you a map without exploding or losing the view and stuff like that. So, here is an inadvertent inverted map of the Bordeaux region of France. This here is where the Medoc area is. So this is roughly, this is where Carmenere originated, although it also can be grown in other regions, like the Graves region here in Bordeaux. Now, if you want to get a little bit more of a wider view of Bordeaux, let's see, or a wider view of France, if I actually know how to work this dang thing. Going backwards while on camera. Oh, geez, complete lack of professionalism. Where are you? Next, tomorrow I should probably, like, make bookmarks while I'm doing this crap. Ah, here we go. So, France. Again, Bordeaux region. This little map here. Okay, so an inverted picture of France, there's Bordeaux. Right there. So when we're talking about Bordeaux, this is where the wine is from. This is the left bank in the Medoc region, so that's where Carmenere originated. Now, this grape is one of the 6 original grapes for the Bordeaux blend. These are also known as the noble grapes. They are as follows: Cab Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, Petit Verdot, Merlot, and of course Carmenere. Though I would like to point out that you don't need to have all of these grapes in order to make a Bordeaux blend. You can do pretty much any kind of mix and match, so to speak. This is perhaps one of the most ancient grapes found in France. And unfortunately, like much of the continent, this grape fell victim to the phylloxera plague. Now, phylloxera is a sap-sucking insect that pretty much devastated the entire European continent's grapes in 1867. That's when it hit really hard. In fact, it got to the point where they were importing rootstocks from America to essentially save French, German, Italian, etc. Grapes that were devastated by the phylloxera outbreak. So what happened, though, is Carmenere was thought to be essentially like extinct during this time period. And because it was hard to grow, people just pretty much gave up on it after this plague or pestilence, whatever you would like to call it, took place. But fortunately, it was inadvertently saved by a country in the New World. And about 150 years ago, well before the plague, Chile imported what they thought to be primarily Merlot from France. Well, they did import Merlot, but they also imported Carmenere without realizing it. So Carmenere is primarily grown in the Central Valley region of Chile, and that was at the time when it was imported. It was also imported and planted alongside Merlot, roughly in the same regions. So the Chileans began to suspect something was odd when some of the grapes were maturing at a much faster rate than others. And it was assumed that perhaps the difference had to do with where the grapes were specifically grown in Chilean Central Valley region. But what happened was, after a genetic testing done by oenologists, I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, but basically people who study wine and genetic testing and stuff like that, after this genetic test was done in 1994, it was discovered that these faster-growing grapes in Chile were not a particular subset of Merlot itself, but actually were Carmenere as well. So lo and behold, Chile is now the number one planter of the grape, along with other countries like China and Italy. And it's kind of weird to think that you can grow like wine in China, but you basically can grow it pretty much anywhere. So what exactly can you expect from Carmenere? Well, it's a medium-bodied red wine. It's dry, and it has a medium amount of tannin, acidity, and alcohol. So this wine is meant to be drank or drunk, I'm not sure how grammar works, in a red wine glass. So if you were to serve it, you'd want to serve it anywhere between 60 to 68 degrees. This is also known as room temperature. Room temperature got its name because that was the room temperature of English castles back in the 19th century. So a little fun fact there. I'm sure I'll bring that up over and over again. That way you can have that fun fact at your next wine party. Should you have the patience, Carmenere can be stored anywhere between 5 to 15 years. And one of the great things about Carmenere is that a good bottle will actually run you for about $15. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to get great value on Carmenere. So, what are some of the smells and tastes that you can expect when you're trying Carmenere? And as I had made mention before, there are a lot of different sensations that you have, but there's also like some particular things that you will note. All things that are like derived, that are shared among people's sensations. So you can expect kind of like a raspberry, green bell pepper, black plum, paprika, and even vanilla. Now, vanilla, if you get that smell or taste, that has a lot more to do with the barrel that is being used. And vanilla is primarily smelled in like New World oak barrels and whatnot. That typically gives you a clue as to how it was grown. How it was barreled. So, what you can do with Carmenere is you can pair it with roast meats like chicken or beef to complement a meal. So if you want to try something fun that, say, you might like Merlot already, or even Cabernet Sauvignon, you might want to try Carmenere. Again, Chilean wine, fantastic, a hidden gem, and a glorious inadvertent salvation, for lack of better phrasing. Anyway, this is Mark, your Madison Cork Dork, out until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I'll be going over one of my favorite wines from one of the most underrated wine regions in France. And if you can figure out what that is, you can give yourself a pat on the back, make guesses when I make my comment tomorrow, letting you know that we will be going over a video at 3 o'clock. That all being said, cheers, and learn about